5 complete beginner tutorial. So this tutorial is for the complete beginner, whether or not you have little or no experience with Unreal Engine 5. This tutorial is to get you familiar with using Unreal Engine 5, as well as teaching you the very basic things that you need to know to get started. Unreal Engine 5 is a massive game engine. There's a lot of different systems within the engine, and it can be very overwhelming to start learning. And so this is why I've made this tutorial, so that you can really just get comfortable with using the engine to work on whatever project or whatever it is that you're using the engine for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first thing that you'll need for this tutorial is to download Unreal Engine 5. To do that, you're going to need to actually download the Epic Games Launcher. So go ahead and head over to this website right here, to Epic Games official website, and go ahead and click this download link. I will leave it in the description below, but you will need to download the Epic Games Launcher and create an Epic Games account if you haven't already. If you have already downloaded the Epic Games Launcher, you can go ahead and skip to the timestamp on the screen, but otherwise you can continue and follow along on the tutorial. Alright, so once you go ahead and download the Epic Games Launcher and create an account, you obviously want to go ahead and log in. And the first thing that you will see if it's your first time opening up the Epic Games Launcher is you're going to see this Store tab. Now this is basically like Steam or really any other game service platform, if you're familiar with Steam or not. To head over to the Unreal Engine tab is to just click Unreal Engine tab here on the left of the screen. You can see there are a couple different sub-tabs in here. The main one that we're going to focus on is the library. So the library is essentially where you can install the current versions of Unreal Engine. In this case, you might not have any engine versions installed, and you also might not have any projects created. So to add an engine version, in our case to add Unreal Engine 5, we want to hit this little yellow plus button. So if you click the yellow plus button, it will give you an option to select which engine version you want to download. Now I'm going to select Unreal Engine 5.0, Preview 1, and once you've gone ahead and done that, it's going to ask you where do you want to install the engine at, a location on your hard drive, or you can just leave it as the default and then just hit OK. Now while the engine is downloading and installing, this might take up to 10 to 15 minutes depending on your internet speed, but once that is finished downloading, all you have to do to launch Unreal Engine 5 is to click this launch button right below. So this is basically the Unreal Engine project browser. This is where you can create new projects or open existing projects. Now you might not have any existing projects in your browser if this is your first time, but basically if you have any existing projects, you're going to see them listed here. And for us, we want to create blank new project. So up over here on the left are our current options. So we have our recent projects, then we have our games. So there are a couple different templates here for games. You can see we have a first person template, third person template, and so on. Then we have the film, video, and live events. So you can see we have another couple different templates there. Architecture, and automotive, product design, and manufacturing. So depending on what you're using the engine for, there's obviously a wide variety of things that you can use it, but in this case I'm going to select games. Of course you can choose whichever template you want, and this tutorial will basically be the same. So in the games tab, I'm just going to select the third person. Then under the options here for our project defaults, we have a couple different options to configure. So you can see here we can choose between Blueprint and C++. This is basically the visual scripting system of Unreal Engine, and we'll go more in depth on explaining that later. But we can leave all of our project settings at the defaults here. You can see our target platform is desktop, quality preset maximum. Down here at the project name, you can go ahead and choose a project name. We can just name this our first project, and then in the location here you can browse to pick a location on your computer where you want to save your current project. So let's go ahead and just click create. Now, if this is your first time launching the engine, and if this is your first time in Unreal Engine 5, you might see a couple of different pop-ups here in the bottom right of your screen. Things saying compiling shaders, or in my case, you can see new plugins are available. You can just click dismiss those messages or click the X button if there is. If it does say compiling shaders, you might just need to give it 5 to 10 minutes for that to complete. But once all those messages are away, we have basically here Unreal Engine 5. First of all, let's actually just get familiar with the UI first. That's our first task here in learning how to use Unreal Engine. We just want to become familiar with really all the basics. So in the middle of the screen here, you can see we have this viewport. If you right click and at the same time hold down WASD, you can move and navigate around the viewport. So again, you can right click, hold on right click, and then use WASD to move around. So those are the basic viewport controls. Other than that, you can scroll in and out to zoom in and out. And you can also select various objects in the level using the left click. Okay, so those are some of the basic viewport controls. Now you can see as we actually select objects in our viewport, we have this little moving gizmo